And for more on the controversial asylum plan, a global affairs analyst, Benga Onifade, joins me now from the United Kingdom. Good to have you join us. All right, so let me ask you, Benga, because we know that this is what voters have been talking about in the UK. The United Kingdom, the government there has been trying to reform immigration, and this is a novel plan. Do you think that this is to send a political message ahead the 2024 general election?
I think so. The Labour actually think this is a ploy because there's a by-election coming up in May, and they think this is a ploy. And also, you might think the other way around. This is some people are saying this is a misgiving of the Tories, which is the ruling party's giving, because in 2011 the asylum was just about 14,000, and now looking at 2023, we've got 10x. 166,000 on the waiting list. So it's more. I think the whole process. The reason why people are complaining more, it's about how long it takes to process the claim. That's number one. Number two, in terms of if you look at how much it costs as well, I think it costs about £2 million a head just to to let them in here while they're getting processed, and it takes about five times more, which is 10 million to return them. So it's more about, instead of just returning them, how about we stop it right from the source? One of the things they are talking about is instituting a processing a processing center in Calais in France. France actually who take more people, more asylums than the UK. But however, this is a problem. It's something I probably will say no government has had a problem to. One of the other things is they come in on a dinghy boat, which is of very, very poor quality. And then we've got criminal gangs profiting off this thing. So I think the key thing is blocking it right from the source. And I think one more key issue not to forget is the fact that, the UNHCR, which United Kingdom is one of the founding members of. Now, UK is actually, looking at holes in this thing, and people thinking you want to breach human rights, and something which is a rule you are created in terms of treating asylum seekers. So it is a worry right there, unfortunately.
And there is so much talk about the legality and the politics of this. But you started talking about the figures earlier. In 2018, it was 300 migrants. In 2020, it was 8,461. And just last year, it was 45 migrants coming into the UK. There is no proof that deterrence has ever worked. So how feasible is this plan?
Well, if you look at what happened in Australia, I think as at 2021, Australia's, in terms of the data, it just kept climbing. As at 2021, Australia was able to strike an agreement with, Nauru, which is a neighboring country. And so regardless, the boats get stopped right at the sea and you get diverted. So whether you like it or not, you're not even applying in Australia, you're not attending to Australian shores. Some people actually, they wait there forever, lose their lives over there. If you get successful, then you get the ticket straight to Australia. So I think with Australia, the fact that it has been working, UK has been doing a lot of learning from a few countries. I think probably Australia is the key one here. So the fact that it actually has been working with Australia, but compared to the UK, UK is surrounded by other, should I call it, safe countries. You got Germany, who actually is the father of them all. They take a lot of them. France takes a lot as well. So the fact that it has actually worked in Australia, Germany and France take a lot more, but I think in the fact with the UK, there's pressing issues with the economy, with, of course, the populace, the electorates are complaining. So the fact that we haven't really got enough data to say it's worked over many places, but I could mention the key place, which is Australia, where it's worked. But in the UK are thinking, let's institute this, let's try and copy if it's going to work. But there are key red tapes around this area. We're not sure if it's going to be approved anyway by the European courts. Another thing people are saying I
was going to talk about that, the approval by the European Court, because we know that the Rwanda immigration policy earlier, that bilateral, that particular agreement that was signed between Rwanda and the UK to deport asylum seekers from the UK to Rwanda is still in court, because a lot of CSOs, civil society organizations, and human rights organizations, did take that case to court. Do you see this particular plan also going in that direction?
Oh, absolutely. Already there are three key areas which, the United States, sorry, United Nations experts in this case are already figuring out where they find it very illegal anyway. And even if you think about the name, it's illegal migrants documents, already. And even, we've got the key BBC stakeholders were already complaining, who even though they meant to be non-biased. And then another thing people are pointing out, which is a keyhole here, is does that mean UK might just pull themselves out of European Court, just European Courts League, so that they can be a nation on their own and make their own rule? So that's another pointer right there. It's a hole to get out of, but I think generally with the professionals around these cases, they don't think it will win with the government, and the government just keeps, looking for more ways to doing it. I mean, think about this. We've been talking about this for over 20 years, and the problem just, it's not abating at all. It just keeps climbing and climbing. So chicken and egg, really. I'm not sure who's going to win in this case, but it doesn't look like the government will win. But at the end of the day, the government needs this sound bite in order for people to say, yes, you can trust us, that we are working on this situation, unfortunately.
And Wenger, it's interesting that you mentioned the name of the document, because many people are wondering if illegal is to define the migrants or to define the document. And we'll see how that goes in the coming days. Thank you so much for talking to us, Global Affairs Analyst Benga Onifade.
Thank you for having me.